On this episode of Ask the Experts, I have Sandy Yong and Albert Ho. Their company is the Property Power Couple. Hi, guys.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we're really excited to share some of our experiences.
You bet. So where are you guys in the world?
Yeah, so we're located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We're both born and raised here, and together we are a married couple. We're both published authors, and together we are real estate investors, mainly in the Greater Toronto area, where we rent out our condo units to long-term tenants.
Oh, that's great. When I lived in Canada, I also had a property. Actually, I've owned many properties over the years, and I have to say that being a landlord is it's a nice way to diversify your passive income. I enjoyed it. I had some there's always those funny stories, but over 15 years that I was a landlord, obviously there's going to be one or two of those interesting things. So tell me, you had mentioned you guys are both authors. Sandy, you had sent me the Money Master book.
That's right.
Did you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So, basically how it all started was that when I graduated from university, I knew that starting out in my career that I needed to start saving money and to really progress to become financially independent, that I needed to invest in the stock market. So like most people, I naively went to one of the big banks, and one of the financial reps had said, hey, well, you would be great with these mutual funds. But, I put my blind faith into them, thinking that they really had my best interest at heart. But unbeknownst to me, they ended up being not diversified, very high risk. And not too long afterwards, I ended up losing thousands of dollars. And when you're in your early 20s, it's very frustrating and demotivating. And that kind of spurred me on into my journey to really dive into the world of personal finance. And I started reading, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which I know is a classic. And then from there, I learned how to become a self-directed investor, creating a six-figure portfolio by the age of 27. But even then, it was a very personal journey, and I didn't really know how to share that and educate other people about that. And in the meantime, I had met Albert, who was part of Toastmasters, and together we were crafting our professional speaking skills. And then fast forward to January 2018, Albert said, hey, Sandy, one of my New Year's resolutions is to publish a book. And I was like, oh, that's really great. Like, I'm going to be a supportive wife. You go for it. I have no intention of publishing a book. But lo and behold, we ended up going to a book writing seminar here in Toronto. And that's where we met our now book publisher, Blackheart Books. And together we've been able to publish two separate books. Mine's called The Money Master, Inside Secrets and How to Make Your Money Grow and Stay Safe. And Albert also has his book, Checkmate, How to Win the Sales Game in Healthcare. And that's really where, by having our books published, we've been able to now have a platform to really share our message, whether it's becoming, creating multiple streams of income, or helping sales professionals to boost their sales and help patients at the end of the day. And and then also together we do real estate investing. So got multiple streams of income coming in.
Well, that is the most important thing, to have that, to have those different streams of passive income to let you live the life that you want to live.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's a great idea. And definitely having a book is a launching pad. There's no question. I mean, even my own case, I see exactly the same thing. My own blog is a result of the book that I wrote. And it's interesting, the people that you meet, along the way. I think it's quite exciting. So tell me, so you guys are property investors. You enjoy it. Now, do you prefer property investing over stocks, or are you about in the middle?
I would say that properties, it's a long-term sort of strategy, and it actually started with my parents. They had been doing it for a long time, ever since I was young. I was actually starting to help with some of that property management, and so seeing my parents do it, they came to Canada in the late 70s, and they had no experience in real estate at all, and they were able to do it and to manage multiple properties. And their strategy was always, you're going to hold on to it for the long term. So we just started to do the same thing. We carefully select our properties so that it's kind of close to schools, close to areas where there's high demand, downtown core in Toronto, and we don't want to sell them until we're in our 60s or 70s, like unless there's some reason where we need to. Because that passive income stream is, it's very valuable. It helps to pay off the mortgage, and it's been an amazing journey so far that we've been doing it together.
Interesting. Yeah. So you mentioned a mortgage. You guys are proponents to having a mortgage on an investment property.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very tough to pay off the entire property in full. So I think most people, even if you have 20% down payment, you're still going to have to carry a mortgage. So that's sort of the risks of each property, right? But at the same time, if you carefully screen, search for a property, and if there's high demand, then you're almost always guaranteed, knock on wood, to have a tenant there to help to pay for that mortgage. Yeah.
Sure, that's great advice. In fact, I actually, I talk about good debt and bad debt all the time. I write about it. I talk about it, not just in public, but also between friends. And it's shocking to me that how many people are always saying, I can't wait to be mortgage free. And I'm kind of going, with mortgage rates being as low as they are right now, why on earth, in my mind, why on earth would you want to put that money into your home when you could be putting it to work in other places and earn you so much more money? Obviously, there's a risk of being over leveraged and having too much debt. You don't want to ever get into that situation, but it's definitely a question I think that people ought to be making. In fact, I'm about to purchase a condo, and I was able to score a rate of 0.5% on a variable interest mortgage, 0.5%.
Wow.
Now it'll move. It'll, with interest, with when the rates go up, so will mine. But I mean, that's like $500 on $100,000 a year of interest. It's nothing. So for me, I would much rather put it there than take it out of my stocks, because if I take it out of my stocks are earning, 10, 12, 15, 20% a year. I don't want to take it out of that. So
exactly.
I think that's,
that's what we do. We make sure that we've got a good balance in our real estate investment portfolio. And then also we've got a sizable portfolio when it comes to stock market investing, and our philosophy is based on passive, long-term, diversified approach, following the indexes. And so that way we know that we've got a long-term strategy and that we're building our wealth over time.
Yeah, that's the best. I mean, nobody gets rich quick, at least not legally, unless they're
right.
Usually, or maybe you win the lottery. But actually, even if you win the lottery, if you're not good with money, you're not going to have it. It's not going to last. So that's interesting. So tell me, so you've got two condos rented out.
Yes, we do.
And you have your own property as well.
We have our own property,
that's
and also,
3.
And then a one that's under construction in Kitchener, Ontario.
Exciting.
Yeah. So we're gradually adding on, kind of like Monopoly.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's the way to do it, right? Why not? Now, Kitchener is not quite close to Toronto. Why did you pick Kitchener?
Yeah, I would say that, well, as you probably know in your experience living in a major city such as Toronto, and even when you're in Vancouver, we have the most expensive real estate in all of Canada, probably up there, joining with the United States too. And so if you look at a single detached home in Toronto, most likely you're starting at $1 million or more. And so that's why we focus more on condo properties where they are more affordable. And then we were looking outside of Toronto just to see what was, a still really good value, that you have a good bang for our buck. And Kitchener is deemed the Silicon Valley of the North, and that's where a lot of the tech companies go to, such as Google, and a lot of startup companies are there as well. And so when we looked at their long-term infrastructure plan and developments, and especially now with COVID, studies show that a lot of people who are living in Toronto, because the space, the condo sizes, the house sizes are so small, they're migrating outside of the city to get larger space for less rent. And so this has kind of worked out in our favor.
No, that's great. So your condo could be worth significantly more once it's completed than what you paid for it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But what does that matter? You're going in for you're expecting the rental income, and that's what's most important. And of course, as there's more demand, those rents will go up. Mm-hmm. So when do you expect it to complete?
Should be about a year from now.
Oh, so yeah. So things could improve even more between now and then. Mm-hmm. You could be laughing.
Yes.
Excellent. So what's next? So after that, what's next? So you guys got your books, Albert. You have your healthcare sales practice, and you're both speakers. What do you guys see in the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it was more kind of, now that I've actually gotten the book published, and honestly, Sandy was right. It did start out as my New Year's resolution, and now that we both accomplished that, we're doing a lot of podcasts such as yours to sort of share our message. I think keynote speaking is sort of the next thing that we really want to grow. And so for me, it's speaking to groups such as those that work in hospitals, governments, or pharmaceuticals. Those are the kind of three target areas that are kind of where I think I can spread my message. And it's a combination of sales as well as just sort of high performing teams. I think that's sort of the key message that I think I can bring, and it's to improve the healthcare system. That's sort of why it brought me on this journey.
Oh, that sounds great. Sounds like you guys have something well planned out, and it'll keep you busy over the long term. Now, guys, everyone who's watching, I have a copy of, Sandy has given me a copy of the book to give away to our audience. And actually, why don't you guys, I'm going to put you on the spot. Why don't you guys pick a number between, let's say, 1 and 20?
Number 5.
Okay, so the 5th person who emails me will get a copy of this book. I will mail this actual copy out to the 5th person who emails me. And you guys are going to have to hunt for my email address. We're going to make this fun. It's not hard to find. You're going to have to hunt for my email address. And the 5th person who gets it to me is going to get a copy of this book, and I will mail it out to them from my home.
Amazing. Yes. Yeah. I hope they enjoy reading it. It's got lots of great tips and to help them determine how they want to build their wealth and become financially independent.
Absolutely. I know it's a great story. If people want to know more about you guys and your story and your message, do you have any resources online or anything that they can reference?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first. So if you'd like to know more about my book, and if you'd like to hire me for speaking events or consulting, you can find me at sandyyong.com. So that's spelled SANDYYONG.com. And you can find me all over social media. I'd love to connect with you guys, talk more about personal finance and investing. You can find me at The Money Master Book on Facebook, Twitter, also on Pinterest. You can find me at Sandy Yong at LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to connect with you guys.
Mm-hmm. And then for myself, I can actually give a complimentary downloadable copy for any of your listeners. So especially if they're in pharma sales, medical device sales, those are the kind of original people that my book was targeting. So they can go to checkmatebook.ca. and they can get a free downloadable copy, as well as healthcareheroes.co. So that's sort of my business page. As well, I'm on social media, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for Checkmate Book. And I'd love to continue the conversation with some of your listeners there.
Great. And of course, all of the links are in the description below. So nobody has to write it down or anything like that. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's nice to hear from Canadians who take an active role in their own financial lives, and I think that that it's great that you guys have the properties, you have your equity investments, you have your own jobs, you've got all of these these sources of passive income. It's like this giant it's this whole sphere of things that are going on, and that's what's so important. And I hope that more people are able to do this, because the opportunities are there for anybody who wants to take it. For sure, yes, that's definitely right. And it starts by reading your book and mine. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Rick.
You bet.